Okay, so hello everyone. This is the session for Rizk, our UI UX designer intern in Bukit Vista, and he'll be delivering his internship graduation presentation in this case. And maybe before we get started, so I'll introduce a bit like of the team members attending in this session. So we have Nadia, a UI UX intern as well as product owner in Bukit Vista, as well as Rizky's mentor, yeah, in this case. And we also have Vidi over here, part of the product development team as well as our COO. And we also have Robert. Robert is actually in the same intern batch as Rizky, and previously he did his presentation in another recording. And okay, maybe that's a bit. Oh, there's Bayu as well over here. Welcome, Bayu. So Bayu is our CTO in this case and the leader of the product team. So yeah, that's a bit of the team members introduction. Oh yeah, me here as the host as well as the member of the HR team. So okay, let's get this started. The time is yours.
Thank you, Sherlyn. So yeah, if you're watching this video, hi future Visterns. My name's Rizky Ajiputro. You can call me Rizky for short. And I'm the UI UX intern for this current time period you're watching. So most likely if you're watching this presentation, it's part of your internship trials where you have to make notes. That's what I remember for sure. Or it's either, you're genuinely interested in UI UX. Whatever the case, I decided to go ahead and do you guys a solid. So, one second. If you look at here, there's a QR code where you guys can basically scan this entire presentation. I remember when I was making the video, I was analyzing the video. It took so long to watch the entire video, so this way you guys can watch it at your own pace. Feel free. So yeah, that's one thing of UI UX is you have to think about the user experience. Even though it doesn't happen yet, I expect some of you guys would like to watch the material. So there you go. It's readily available for you essentially. But yeah, moving on to our agenda for today. I'm gonna split it into three different acts, I guess you could call it chapters. One is what I did as an intern for UI UX as a UI UX intern for BV. The second is the projects I've done and the legacy I left behind. And three is my takeaways and final thoughts. Each one we'll go through shortly. So, what I do on a typical day. So, as you can see, instead of user experience, I technically think it as user, in the sense that I always think about you, the user in hand, the customer, the product, the property client, anything. You have to always focus on the person you're looking for. So it all starts with finding the problems and pain point that negatively affects the user's experience. From there, you're able to sort of deduce the common problem, like a thematic that can be feasibly solved. Feasibly is the key words because you'll understand that in a real life environment, working environment, there are certain prioritizations and limits that'll come with it. Second is the user interface portion, the UI. So that one consists of creating low fidelity wireframes and transitioning to high fidelity mockups, reminding yourself to always test and reiterate as well as require feedback. Remember that every design always goes back to the user in mind. This is design thinking where human oriented development is encouraged. So let's talk a bit about the typical UI UX workflow. I can break it down into three tasks essentially: understand, design, and feedback. So, understanding the platforms you'll deal with is essentially video meetings, documentation, interviews, brainstorming, as well as back and forth discussion. This is how you truly get to know the user's pain points. So, in there, I've included three platforms we typically use. One is Google Meets, obviously. The other one is Coda for, written documentation. And the other one is Trello for a faster pace, essentially tracking of progress. Second is design. This is where you'd either typically sketch, annotate, create user flows, user stories, and you use Miro and Figma to create your design. So if you guys are familiar with these two platforms, it should already be easy for you. And after that, it's essentially to sync up and continuously update and reiterate everything you've learned. Final step is feedback. So feedback is to the actual user testing portion. Remember, you're making a design for the user in mind. So you always have to keep that in the back of your head. That's where feedback comes in. That comes into the types of mockups, prototypes, A/B testing, and evaluation. That platform, had experience with HeatJar personally, and a little bit of Google Analytics. But yeah, as you can see, it's a ever-going process. It's always cyclical, going back and forth, and that's how you need to keep in mind. All right, let's talk about a bit about the projects I've done here at Bukit Vista. My very first project I could remember was the Undercover Partner Journey experiment. This is where I essentially became a dummy partner and go through the same trials and tribulations our normal property owners could typically go through. It's hoped that the issues discovered during this experiment will lead to further projects to more effectively inspire the light. We realized here at BV that the current timeline of the PD partner journey took longer than expected. So through this, it's hoped that we can understand why and ways to remedy it essentially. Here. So moving on to this one, there's something I had to improvise, adapt, and overcome. One problem during this experiment was the UX research took far too long, longer than expected. I had to find a way to achieve similar results in a faster time. The takeaway I got from this is that flexibility in a working environment is paramount. So by analyzing the Airtable log data, we can gauge the average time frame it takes of our partners to complete their journeys in BV, thus giving a similar result, you could say. So yeah, on the top left there is one of the presentations I presented during my findings. Second is something that spawned from the first experiment, which is, yeah, it spawned a low fidelity wireframe. Now that we understand the problem, we can actually go ahead and try to come up with solutions with it. No matter the project, every UI UX project will start with collaboration via Miro. So wireframes will let us visualize the rough outline of any design and constantly tweak and reiterate until all parties mutually agree. So as you can see there, those are just some of my early wireframes for the partner onboarding experiment. And yeah, let's see. If you notice on the top right, understanding UI UX from a developer's perspective allows me to see elements in terms of reusable block structures and their JavaScript counterparts. From here, I basically learned how to design atomically and to think iteratively. So there's one thing about you can do about sketching and design. It could be as pretty as you want, but if the developers can't, yeah, implement it in a timely manner, then it's not useful. So if you think how the developers think, it's more likely to be adapted and implemented as well. So that's essentially the picture on the bottom right. Now, on to the partner onboarding. This is one of the wireframes and mockups already developed. So the main purpose, as mentioned, is to make the onboarding journey for our partners more accessible and more intuitive by implementing the solution to the BVGO app. Yeah, quick context, the BVGO app is essentially the mobile version that BV partners can join to track their essentially their properties, their financial reports, and etc. The takeaway I've learned from this is that I learned rapid ti- about the takeaway I learned from this is rapid prototyping based on continuous feedback, as well as color theory and illustrations based on established design systems. So rapid prototyping is, if you've seen from the past wireframe, there's a lot of things that you have to fix over and over essentially. And this one's another one of the mock-ups. It's the revenue projection or revenue progress rather, and it shows the three different scenarios that you have to always implement and think through. Next project is manage my property improvement. So the hypothesis, this was conducted by the marketing team, is that by restructuring the MMP page, it is hoped that marketing chapter can reduce the bounce rate and increase click-through of property owners becoming B partners. So what's the purpose of this improvement? One, we wanted to build upon, that's the keyword, build upon, and improve the manage my property page by adding new features based on competitors analysis. Second is we want to adapt to a more modern and minimalist trend of other websites while still being aesthetically consistent to BV. And second is we want to be wireframed around the WordPress structure because that's how our website is built. And this is my most recent project is the guest contract automation. This is essentially where I created a dedicated tab to integrate the partner contract process directly into the bigger platform. We realized as we scaled up, managing contracts and important documents is harder to isolate to a single platform. So this is hopefully used so that the HAR chapter can, yeah, have one solution basically. Now, I want to talk about the bit about the events. So those are my main projects for UI UX, but it's not all work. On top of the traditional projects, I also enjoyed projects where I get to collaborate with other chapters or fun external activities. One of them is in the top right. You can see specifically with creating games for the Halloween party example, or being part of the internship video. You can see that there are also happy hours or even local PD fun days for you to attend where you get to basically relax and not think about work for a moment. These are often some of my fondest memories because it makes me realize that here in Bukit Vista, you're not just going to be a cog in the machine. Instead, you're going to meet different people with different stories and unique personalities. There's always a person behind every colleague you work for, basically. Let's talk about my final thoughts and takeaways. If anything I've learned for this past 3 months, I've learned to don't overthink my problems. Don't go overboard thinking you can carry a project on your own. First, you must understand your limits and break down every large task into smaller, more manageable solutions. So, a huge project can seem overwhelming at first, but if you break it down into manageable chunks, it should be doable for you. That segues to my next one is to rely on others if needed. So, there's no I in team. You guys have might have heard that. So, humility can be a strong motivator. Sometimes knowing your limits means asking others for guidance. This will allow you to complete projects more effectively because they might have the skill set you don't, or they might be better suited to tasks. Whatever the case, you have to always think it's about the projects and not about your own personal motivations. So at PD team, it's all about teamwork, and be sure to ask help whenever you need. Third is work-life balance is key. At times, I'm personally a final year university student myself. It can feel like your BV work and your uni studies can blur together, leaving you a very little time to get respite, take a break. In these cases, it's important to take a step back from it all and just reevaluate your priorities. Understand which one is more important than others and which one can be lesser, and just, yeah, evaluate it, and hopefully it will work out for you. And finally, is fail fast and recover. Learning is a cycle. I can't count the amount of times I've failed in a task, but what the way I see it is failure is not a one step back, but instead a way to move two steps forward and learn from your mistakes. And thankfully, that's one of Bukit Vista's core values is to always fail fast. And I've always learned to take criticism and constantly reiterate if anything else. And yes, so finally, that was my last slide. I want to thank the product development team for essentially everything they've taught me. I want to thank Gayu, Kofidi, Chris, Robert, Lukman, and Adri for being excellent colleagues during my time here and essentially for guiding me, helping me learn. Even though we might not actively collaborate on projects at the moment, just being there and listening to their stand-up updates, how their workflows are, is super insightful. And yeah, a special thanks to Ka Nadia, who's not only been a mentor, a role model, but also a really great friend. No amount of thanks is enough to show my true gratitude. Thank you, Ka Nadia, for being an excellent mentor, not only in UI and UX, but in life in general. I can't remember how many times I asked you for advice, and you've always stepped up to help me out. So you always keep me grounded, and I'm glad I could do the same for you, and reminding you of your UI UX roots. You may have started as a UI UX designer, but you have grown even further to an excellent role model, in my opinion. So yeah, is this the end? No, I can confidently say no. Though my internship is over, BV has forever impacted me. Wherever my next journey leads, I'll always have the lessons taught by BV to help me. That's why I'd like to take what I learned and pay it forward. I'm talking to you right now, future visitors. If you ever feel like you need help from a legacy intern, or ask me questions about my time during BV, whether it's tips, advice, or vice versa, please feel free to reach me out on LinkedIn, chat me, say, hey, I'm a visitor now, and can you help me out? And I'll be more than happy to help newbie visitor out in the future. And yeah, that's essentially it. As always, don't forget to stay on top. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, oh, this is amazing. Thank you, Rizky, for your presentation. And also, like, I like the idea where you put like the QR code. It's very unique. I think no one has actually like done that before. But yeah, I think with that you also like pay attention to like the experience, right? Since in your role right now as a user experience as well as user interface intern in this case. Okay, that's for the presentation. So the next segment, so let's go to the participants over here. So we have a few of the people mentioned just now, yeah, by Risky, like especially in the product development. So okay, maybe I'd like to have a few words from Robert first. So Robert is in the same batch as Risky, even though like he's in a different role. So Robert is a front end developer intern. But maybe would you like to say a few words or maybe like anything that you want to say to Risky?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, from seeing his work from the past 3 months, it always seems that everything he does is always so fully thought out. He always look at the littlest details and put 110% on all his efforts. So, and his presentation is always crazy good, even from the start. So yeah, top notch work. That's it from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Robert, yeah, for your sharing a bit of your experience as well working with Whiskey. And okay, next, maybe can I go to Vidi? Maybe Vidi can tell a bit more about your experience working with Whiskey, or maybe like a few words
Yup.
for Whiskey.
First, congratulations, Risky. I'm so proud that you completed your internship with an IGP as well. And I personally like in product development wise, in chapter wise, I do not I have do not have the I did not have the opportunity to collaborate with Robert. Although Robert said that he wants to collaborate with me, but we didn't get to collaborate until the end. But no worries. But I think one of the innovation that sticks with me was the report on analysis on partner onboarding journey, because when he presented it to the team, it is very insightful first, but it's also very easy to understand. And this kind of give a realization to the team that there is something that should be fixed within the workflow itself. And that's what's important when you're doing the analysis. Although like Robert, I mean, Risky is not a data analyst, but he's able to like deliver his presentation very well and in a very insightful manner, such that everyone actually has an idea of what to do. There's an actionable as well. So yeah, that's that from me. Thank you very much, Risky. Yeah, don't be a stranger.
Okay, thank you, Vidi. I think just now you mentioned Robert, yeah, but it's okay, no worries. Okay, that's a few of the experience from Vidi, yeah, just now. And okay, next, let's get to Risky's mentor, Nadia. Any thoughts, things you would like to say to Risky?
All right. Oh, I'm actually touched, yeah, by by the last slide. Thank you so much for that, Risky. But yeah, actually having Risky as my mentee in the team as well in product development actually helped me a lot. I mean, it's actually really good if actually he can grow during his internship in Bukit Vista, but actually grow as well. Actually, having Risky here in the team. And actually, fun fact, I still remember Fidi's question during the peer-to-peer. Like, he asked me whether I still remember how to do UI UX. And I think, like, last month, yeah, in December, actually, Rizky actually told me that I still know how to do UI UX. So I feel that's actually a great growth as well. So, yeah, congratulations for completing your internship. Don't be stranger. And also, see you in Jogja. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, yeah. Yeah, in this case, for sharing a bit your experience as a mentor, especially not just for Risky, but you yourself as a mentor have grown yourself as well, yeah, in this case. And okay, last but not least, to Bayu, our CTO as well as the product team leader. Anything you would like to say about Risky?
Okay, basically, I kind of not surprised, but still amazed with this presentation. It's really good, Risky. Basically, I think it summarized your understanding about user experience. I think you are thinking about who are the user of this presentation, right? It's not me, not Shelly, not anyone here, but actually the future interns that will watch this video. And that's why I think this presentation is very focused on the user, the viewer of this video, and all the message basically goes to them, and it's really good. I feel if I'm watching this video, if I'm an intern or someone looking to apply for a job in Bukit Vista and watching this video, I definitely will get the answer directly. What is basically Risky working on? How's the environment? How's the team member? And yeah, there's a lot of experience that you can actually convey through this presentation. So it summarized my what do you call it? My impression to Risky since the beginning. Actually, he's very focused on user experience. You know who to focus on, where to focus on, and that's very good. So far, I think I always put a notes for everyone that's doing internship here in Bukit Vista, and my notes are almost always positive about Risky. Not because he's doing it perfectly since the first try, but because his mentality, his attitude towards feedback, mistakes, failure, his attitude is that yeah, making mistake is fine, and now I need to focus on how to make up for that mistake and how can I become better. And I think That's the most valuable attitude and mentality there. So congratulations again, Rizky, for finishing your internship program, and then also thank you for endorsing our internship program to the next this video viewer, and that's very meaningful to me personally and for the company as well. So thank you, and back to Shalin.
Okay, thank you, Bayu, yeah, for the messages as well. And yeah, I think overall this presentation is pretty great from Risky. Like you pay attention to the user itself, which is like the future, perhaps future interns or even like future employees. In. And okay, maybe last but not least, maybe from Risky, anything else perhaps that you want to deliver in this room?
Yeah, and if thank you everyone for all your kind words. So yeah, that entire user experience thing, it's basically how I've always think, but it's something in the back of my mind that I noticed when I was studying the other what's it called IGP presentations. It's something I noticed. I wish this would have happened, or I wish they could have included the material. So I want to learn from those not mistakes really. I want to learn from those ideas and further develop it. Yeah, that's hopefully this is a one step further towards that iteration. And as mentioned, BV has really gave me a lot of humility in terms of failing and feedback, and I no longer see failing as necessarily a bad thing, but I actively enjoy it, but I actively feel okay with it because I know it's a way to gauge feedback and just be better overall. While I'm still an intern, I wanted to fail as much as I can, so in the future I wouldn't have to experience it in real life, right? And so yeah, I think that's essentially it. See, and over back to you, Shirley.
Okay, thank you, Rizky. So yeah, this some of this session, and yeah, I think this is actually it for Rizky's presentation session in this case. And thank you so much once again to Rizky for presenting, as well as the product team, yeah, who actually attending this session in Saturday afternoon. And yeah, thank you all, and have a great day ahead. Happy New Year.